Those New York Republicans on that fall, Paul Ingresa, Nick Fuentes, who had dinner at Mar-a-Lago, the people that were protesting at Columbia or Harvard were protesting Joe Biden. They're not Democrats.
Hey, James, for the outrage of the week, boy, it's just hard now. I mean, there's so many possibilities. But if you want to doubt that not only is this the most corrupt, but also the most incompetent Justice Department, read Magistrate Judge William Fitzpatrick's opinion on how flawed the indictment of former FBI Director James Comey is. The U.S. attorney in Virginia wouldn't bring a case, so they fired him and they brought in the White House insurance lawyer who knew from nothing, maybe an illegitimate appointment. The presentation of the case and the evidence were flimsy as to exaggerate the import, and it reeks of retribution. Ty Cobb, who was Trump's lawyer once, says the case is dead, as it should be. But so, too, is the unconscionable case against Maureen Comey, a highly regarded career prosecutor in the Southern District of New York. She helped convict Epstein enabler Ghislaine Maxwell. She was fired because Trump hates her father, because of her last name. She also is entitled to civil service protection. But my outrage here is the head of that fabled Southern District is Jay Clayton. What did he do when one of his prize assistants was illegally fired? Nothing. He said, that was Washington. He is a real sit-down guy, which explains why Attorney General Pam Bondi has tapped Clayton to investigate Democrats' connections to Jeffrey Epstein.
Well, mine is, I don't want to call it an outrage because there's an insidious, dangerous disease, and it's called Bocyrism. And it's very, very easy to practice. It's very easy to pull off. It's very easy for everybody to applaud you. And I'm going to give you an example. And it was today's column by Tom Friedman. Okay. I, like most people, have dealt with him and know him and had a number of social exchanges with him. I find him to be an utterly pleasant man. I think he's well-traveled. I think he has a lot of sources. I think he's a man with a good heart. And all of this is what makes this so tragic in my mind. So he writes a column saying there's a cowardness throughout the world right now, and that he's very worried. And he gives the example that on the right, there's Nazi sympathizers, the Israeli settlements, which he is correctly and been very passionately opposed to. I think the whole time. I would give Tom a lot of credit for that. And then the left who is pro-Hamas. Well, that sounds... Well, okay, they got the Nazis, and the right. There's a difference, and understand this. The Nazis are Republicans. Those New York Republicans on that fall, Paul Ingresa, Nick Fuentes, who had dinner at Mar-a-Lago, the people that were protesting at Columbia or Harvard were protesting Joe Biden. They're not Democrats. You've got to understand there's a difference. They're not really much. You have some, understandably, in outside of Detroit, in Dearborn, that are probably could be characterized as Democrats and characterized as pro-Hamas, but it's a very, very small part. The Nazi wing, remember Lindsey Graham said he thinks that the Nazi wing of the Republican Party sucks. They're all Republicans. And so for a guy like Tom, is innocent as the day is long, with no malice, just lapsing into the pox on both of their houses bullshit that I would hear all the time in Washington. And you could say, but on the other hand, or James, you got to admit, the Democrats do the same thing. And it's not the same thing. It's not at all the same thing. It's not the same thing to have a pack of Nazis or Nazi sympathizers, whatever the fuck they are, and they're pretty out and out about it, down to the Heritage Foundation, which is, most central, probably intellectual institution of the right. The people that were saying River to the Sea was saying, hey, hey, Joe, ho, ho, Genocide Joe must go. They're not Democrats. And there's a difference. And it's a difference with a distinction. And I'm going to keep making it every time. I just think this kind of stuff is played a large part into how we ended up where we are today. This inability to make a value judgment, a clear value judgment, that one party is doing something and the other party is really not to any significant level participating in the same kind of extremist politics.
Yeah, no, I agree. Tom's a good guy, but
A
I
great
agree
guy.
with you. I agree with you.
But it happens to the best of us. And the problem is everybody's going to agree with him. It's just not true. And it is true that Paul Ingratius got a big job with the GAO now.
Well, they gave him a big job, and when he was even for this Republican Senate, they said, "Oh no, this is too much." And so what they did is he couldn't be confirmed, so they gave him a job that didn't require confirmation. I mean,
Yeah,
it's just
but he is in the people on that chain, the New York young Republicans. Some of them were in their 40s. They are Republicans. Okay, get that through your head. In everything in these people's mind, it all comes down to Harvard. Somehow or another, Harvard defines the entire goddamn Democratic Party. I don't know why, but it's just become, well, the groups at Harvard. Again, I'll go back and say what our friend Jill Abrams said. She can correct me, that she was on the faculty and she was in touch with a lot of the Jewish students doing this. And to a student, they said they were not fearful. But
yeah,
you got to throw in, there's some keywords you always got to throw in so everybody can understand what a fair person you are.
yeah. I think you're right. I think you're right.